Namaste, angels. This is my full moon video, the Scorpio full moon for May 2017. And I'm going to begin with a little tidbit from the almanac.com. We use full moon names that were used during Native American and colonial times to help track the seasons. Depending on the tribe, May's full moon was called the full flower moon, as well as mother's moon, milk moon, and the corn planting moon. The May moon marked a time of increasing fertility, with temperatures warm enough for safely bearing young, a near end to late frosts, and plants in bloom. The full moon occurs on May 10th at 5:42 p.m., which is 11. And with that, I'm going to go to another site. I just typed in full moon and I clicked on the first one, and it was Ruby Slippers, so I'm going to go to that one in a second. But I did have some things of my own, actually, although I'm not an astrologer. This is just interesting information. The birthstone for May, emerald, was a favorite gem of Cleopatra and Catherine the Great. It has long been associated with fertility, rebirth, and love. So with me being of the emerald ray, I was excited about that. What else do I want to tell you guys? Well, just a little bit about what I've been thinking for this time. Well, the whole month of May basically is all about Scorpio and Gemini. With the Scorpio full moon now, May 10th, but also Mars, one of Scorpio's rulers, has been in Gemini for at least a week. I think it's probably close to like 2 weeks. So we've had that going on. Now, their other ruling planet, Pluto, is in retrograde. So I'll tell you a little bit about that. But Mars is still in Gemini. It's going to be in Gemini the entire month of May. And at the end of the month, I think it was May 25th, we have the new moon in Gemini. So the whole month is like consumed with the energy of Scorpio and Gemini. And I may be leaving something out because I saw so many things. I think it's going to be this right now, this time with this full moon, and I guess the next 2 weeks, a very, I don't want to say lucky time, because if we haven't been putting out good karma, that's not what we're going to get back. I mean, you know, we give, reap what we sow. So it will be a quote unquote lucky time for those who are on the right side of luck. And for those who are not, it won't. What else was special? There was a star that's associated with luck, and it has a long Latin name, but it has an easier name that I can't think of right now. Maybe the Ruby Slipper girl will write about it too. I'm not sure. A woman. I don't even know her. She woman. But it's like the star of luck as well. In addition to the fact that Jupiter is in retrograde, and Jupiter is not a ruler of Scorpio, but in the tarot, at least the way I read it, for me, the Wheel of Fortune card, which represents the planet Jupiter, also represents the fixed signs of which Scorpio is one. But the star is also very, very lucky. I got my nails done to match the Scorpio full moon and the stars and stuff. They're blue. Last week I had them black, you know, with some gold and stuff. Anyway, so yeah, what does it mean also to be about Scorpio and Gemini? Well, a lot of cutting people off permanently, but maybe making some new friends too. It's transformation, like complete metamorphosis and transformation. So we could be doing, I guess it can be sort of like opposite month. Maybe, like, whereas we might not have been tending to relationships or interested in making new relationships or making new friends, maybe we're doing that now, and we're cutting out the old ones, like all that kind of stuff. Both of those very Scorpio and Gemini traits, and with the two of them playing together all month, we're going to see a whole bunch of that. And I think particularly now with the full moon, because full moons are about letting things go and releasing things and change and all of that. Anyway, so with that, let's see what Ruby Slippers has to say. Oh, first, I'm going to go to findyourfate.com. and just recap what happens during a Pluto retrograde. So Pluto takes 248 years to do a complete revolution around the sun, thus spending on average about 21 years in each sign of the zodiac. Pluto moves into retrograde approximately every year for around 5 or 6 months. When Pluto goes retrograde, it's a good time to reflect on how we're doing with change and transformation. So that's what I was saying. And because the planet Pluto is all about change and transformation, as is the zodiac sign it rules, Scorpio, I pulled out my butterfly cards. And I think I'm going to do the cross with those, because they're all about change, butterflies and metamorphosis and going in a caterpillar and coming out, of the cocoon, exiting the cocoon, this beautiful flying insect, right? You're going crawling slowly, this worm, and coming out this flying thing. So I'm going to use those. So also in retrograde, again, since I'm recapping, might as well do this. Saturn is in retrograde. It went in on April 5th. Saturn takes around 29.5 years to do a complete revolution around the sun. Saturn goes into retrograde every year for around 140 days. When Saturn goes retrograde, it's a good time to revisit our relationships and to work on long-term goals, responsibilities, and duties. It's also a time to restructure the way we manifest our reality and to find a new attitude toward obstacles. We have all these things going on at the same time. Told you Pluto. Uranus is in shadow. It goes full retrograde August 2nd, but it entered its shadow April 15th. Uranus takes about 84 years to do a complete revolution around the sun, thus spending about 7 years in each sign of the zodiac. Uranus moves into retrograde approximately every year for around 148 days. When Uranus goes retrograde, our inner freedom is the focus. So this is why so many of us have wanted to get out, escape, these situations that we've felt trapped in, whatever those may be. Of course, the daddy of all planets is still in retrograde. Jupiter doesn't come out until June 9th. We've been talking a lot about that with the honeymoon. So upon our next full moon, we'll be talking about Jupiter in its shadow instead of the full-on retrograde. Jupiter takes around 12 years to do a complete revolution around the sun. Jupiter goes retrograde every year for around 120 days. When Jupiter goes retrograde, it's a good time to review our visions, ideals, and belief systems in life. So these things that we feel bound to, married to, like the energies that come up with the Hierophant card, traditional values, deciding whether or not to keep or chuck those with the energy of the Jupiter retrograde. And of course, Venus has exited retrograde, but is in its shadow. It went direct on April 15th and doesn't leave the RX zone completely until May 18th. Venus takes 225 days to do a complete revolution around the sun and is stationary for somewhere between a few hours or 3 to 4 days. Venus moves into retrograde every 18 months or so and then stays that way for about 6 weeks. When Venus goes retrograde, money and love are areas that are reviewed, and old relations could return to resume or to be completed. New love relationships may produce a change of heart when Venus goes direct, which again happened on April 15th. Investments done during the retrograde phase of Venus could lose in value. And lastly, Mercury is in its RX zone, but out of retrograde, the full-on thing. Mercury takes 88 days to do one complete revolution around the sun. Mercury moves into retrograde 3 times per year for anywhere between 19 to 24 days. When Mercury goes retrograde, mistakes, misunderstandings, problems in communication and transportation are all likely. Do not sign contracts or buy new items, nor begin new projects. It's an excellent time to plan, research, and prepare for something that will happen later. So we can still, pay attention to that part, and we still can have little mishaps. But of course, the heavy energy is done. It completely leaves the RX zone, Mercury that is, on May 20th. So we're almost there. All right. Now I'm going to this young lady's website. Ruby Slipper Astrology. Full Moon in Scorpio. The Deep Reveal. Let's see what she has to say, because I did not read this alone. Reading it with you guys only. The May 10th full moon in Scorpio will be intense, and not just because it's Scorpio. Pluto's RX, Scorpio's ruler, we just went over this, will trine the Taurus sun. So Pluto's RX is, of course, Pluto's retrograde. And make a sextile to the moon. This adds an extra helping of Scorpio to an already heavy culmination. Full moons are times of peak intensity. Something has been building, and it will be released via Scorpio's profound, limit-destroying energy. The impact will be felt beneath the surface, so the ending result will be much more than a superficial change. On the same day, Mercury in Aries will conjoin Uranus. We have the bright flash on the surface and the tremors underneath. Secrets and hidden motivations may be exposed. The truth will be surprising, although it's been agitating since March 26th, Mercury's first conjunction with Uranus. Now, those are two air signs, by the way, two planets that rule air, Mercury, Gemini, and Uranus, Aquarius. Pluto adds reassuring integration along with relentless transformation. Trines and sextiles represent paths of least resistance, so the change will happen naturally, and it should fit right in with whatever else is happening in your life. The initial event may be jarring, so like the tower perhaps, but you'll quickly see that it's meant to be. Juno will be close to Pluto's retrograde, and she will have stationed retrograde on May 9th. So there's added value. So Juno is Venus. There's added issues of contracts, partnership, and perhaps fidelity. The full moon's outcome may involve an overhaul of the contract between you and another. Not just the words, but the significance of the unspoken understanding that one or both partners have. Depth of commitment and exchange of power between two people may be themes. Note that a grand fire trine will form on May 9th, which is one of my viewers' birthdays, Taylor. And it is also Ghostface Killer's birthday. I have to say that because I know this, otherwise I guess quote unquote useless information, and I have to let it out somewhere. Anyway, that will continue until roughly around June 20th, it says. It will involve Uranus in Aries with Mercury until May 15th, the North Node in Leo, and Saturn's retrograde in Sagittarius. I'll write a separate post on this, and while it's not directly involved with this moon, consider it a fortunate backdrop. So maybe they're tying it into what I was talking about. I felt things happening with fortune and karma too. Saturn will add structure and stability to Mercury-Uranus revelations, and this will energize your path forward. What you discover or discuss should all fit together and might even open some new doors. Along with the easy aspects from Pluto, it will be almost impossible not to progress. Well, that's good news. So again, that was rubyslipper.ca. All right. I am beginning with my butterfly cards and motivation, and I'm going to do the cross with these. Opening to volunteer, which is all about willfully, like stepping into life. Whatever volunteer opportunities exist for you, whatever you can, without being forced, move toward doing that you need to do in your life. That's what the card means. Motivation is pretty straightforward. And opening down to heavenly signs. Motivation back. Support. Motivation. I'll go one more, and it's welcome to the new. Motivation. revelations and epiphanies. We just read about how we'll be learning some things that had been in the dark. That fits. Overall energy is changing your mind. Didn't I just talk about this when I was doing my summary? Although I'm not an astrologer or anything like that. Yeah, it can be like opposite day. Or what did they call it on SpongeBob that time? Leif Erikson Day, like where everything was like topsy-turvy, backwards. Yeah, this. Feminine about herself, body changes. This is about the upgrades, about the ascension, about the DNA. So this is what the feminine is going through. We're noticing, maybe not physical body changes, but we're noticing different things about ourselves. The, like improvements that have been made, the new things that we can do, that we can accomplish, our strengths, our gifts. Very beautiful. The masculine about us, family changes. This is what he sees when he looks at us. Family changes. Now, for some, the two of these together can be that very fertile and a time of giving birth, a time of becoming pregnant and or giving birth. He may see an addition to his family when he looks at the feminine, looking at this pregnant feminine, perhaps. For some. Because we just read about how it's a fertile time. About himself. Hobbies. He's thinking about he needs to get back in touch with like his creative side. And I don't know if I read about that just now, but I've been talking about that quite a bit. That I've been seeing it in the cards and feeling it and all that kind of stuff. That the creative outlets that people had that they sort of put by the wayside. Spirit encouraging us to pick those back up. Because that's about what we're passionate. And this is the time now with all of the fire element energy that's going, the Sagittarius, the Aries, and now even some Leo, all of this like very passionate energy. It's the time to go after, manifesting our abundance through things we enjoy doing, basically. And about which we're passionate. And the union, moving. Maybe moving forward, moving on, perhaps physically moving in together, moving to a new place, all of these things, possibilities. Overall, you are stronger than you know. This applies to both, and this is what the masculine is feeling about both overall. Like we can do this. We got this. The outcome. Be true to you. This definitely fits with what I just read about the retrogrades and, like letting go of some of the traditional values, some of the ideologies that are outdated, that no longer align with us and our new vibration after our body changes, our DNA changes, our ascension. Also with maybe the freedom, Uranus, and that freedom, wanting to end these, for some it's been a long time of feeling like just stifled. And maybe that's why in the case of the masculine, with this card sitting right underneath here too, why he hasn't done, some of the things that he enjoys doing. We just felt like we were being choked and suffocated. So many of us by some of these things that were going on in our lives that we're doing sort of for other people that weren't for us. We put our hobbies and other passions, down and to the side to do things for other people. And now we're picking these back up and we're being true to us. What would the masculine have the feminine surrender? The old. New career doesn't have to actually be a job, but it can be for some. But it's like the old. That's what he wants you to let go of. The past. Maybe some of us holding on to it, and it can be maybe in part for at least inadvertent, like selfish reasons. You know, maybe he caused some of the hurt of the past. That's a possibility too. But he, for whatever the situation is, he wants you to let go of it, to allow for the new instead. He is willing to, boom, family changes, relationship dynamics. He's ready to move forward toward relationship. And again, maybe even moving in with some people or starting a family in the case of some. And what does the universe want both, to surrender to, sacrifice, to stop this, like an unhealthy obsession and worry about the finances? To surrender this sort of like being ruled by money. It's money is too I can see it. My eyes are closed right now because I can see what they're trying to show me. It's like money is too, we're too consumed basically with it. And money's supposed to be like a tool for us to use, for us to get by down here on this plane, in the 3D, but not for us to sort of become, consumed with it. I can't think of the other word. Or if it comes up, if I can picture what they're trying to show me, if I can put that formulate into words before it's too late and the reading's over, I will. Let me just recap this because I want to go on to the next spread. So we are feminine, acknowledging the fact that we are ascending, changing, becoming a new and different person, having entered as a caterpillar, exiting as a butterfly. Some of us even physically going through body changes, and perhaps because of pregnancy, the masculine seeing us, viewing us as a family change in his eyes. So like, I want to give you my last name too. That's a possibility as far as like getting married, pregnancy. And it doesn't have to be within these 2 weeks, but this is his vision of you right now in this time, or over these 2 weeks in the next, with the energy of the full moon. For himself, he knows he needs to get back into what he enjoys doing. And that in some cases, that can even make him some money. So, he may be changing jobs. He may be the one going into the new career. And maybe for some, he wants you to welcome his new. The fact that he's changing jobs or something, like not think he's crazy. Allow him to be true to him and you be true to you. For others, this new that the feminine is supposed to sort of surrender to is, whatever it is in her life, whatever aligns with you, letting go of the past, whatever past was, became baggage, whatever past was hurtful, it left you resentful, bitter in any way, needing to forgive yourself, somebody else, and you're still holding on to it. Let go of all of that and allow for only new, fresh energy there. What the masculine is ready to surrender to is relationship dynamics. So not only is he, again, over here, perhaps ready to give someone his last name, perhaps two someone's, the feminine and a child that they produce together, or, taking on perhaps her children or merging his with her, just changing the family altogether when he sees her, but also commitment, relationship, maybe moving into each together, because he sees the union as moving forward, moving on, positive things. And the fact that we can make it, we're strong enough to make it. We can do this. That's his vision. But the universe says, you're going to be blessed with finances. Abundance is coming your way. Fortune is on your side right now in this time. But we don't want you to be consumed with that. We'd rather you be concerned with being true to you. Okay. tarot spread, beginning with the Ace of Cups, opening to the Seven of Staves in reverse, which I like actually, because it's like maybe finally being able to relax for a minute and not have to be so defensive, you know, like at all times. And the Nine of Staves as well in reverse, I also like. Having overcome that need to, you know, keep pushing, although we have the strength, we're stronger than we know, and all that kind of stuff, you know, not having to just feel like we're always fighting, putting those wands down. Ace of Cups upright back. Opening, however, to the Tower, although I did just read that the Tower might occur, and then we decide that it was warranted and needed, and we appreciate it. Tower now taking over and open to Judgment, upright. In this deck, specifically, the Judgment card being that one where the masculine waited too long to come back, to return to the feminine. So it's like about facing your life, volunteering to face your own life. Tower back. I'll go one more. And it's the Queen of Arrows in reverse. Interesting. Because the Queen of Arrows, at least Gemini and Uranus, so Aquarius, should be empowered right now. Two of Arrows in reverse. That one I also like, because that indicates that decisions have been made where they were needed. Overall energy is the Eight of Staves upright. Eight of Staves upright, all about communication, and events moving at a fast pace. Like we may have felt stagnant before, and then all of a sudden we're moving. Or maybe like the Tower came through perhaps and shook us up. So you haven't spoken to your divine masculine, or vice versa, you haven't spoken to your divine feminine in weeks. Then all of a sudden you show up and say, I got this apartment, I got this home, or whatever, move in with me. Boom. That's the fast pace. So like nothing was happening, and now everything's happening. It's also about communication. Masculine, however, is the Five of Cups, upright. Oh, woe is me. Surrounded by the Eight of Cups, which is much more positive, also upright. Tradition, the card I was talking about, the Hierophant, upright in his subconscious, with Romeo and Juliet. The feminine is the Queen of Staves with Frika upright. And the Two of Cups upright. Two of Cups and the Hierophant in the same spread. Fertility, however, in reverse. I just spoke about Cleopatra, coincidentally. And I just spoke about fertility. It's in reverse. Fertility is the Empress. Crowning, the Five of Arrows. Ooh, don't like this one. Upright. Crossing the Two of Cups, it's the Two of Staves, also upright. Sitting next to the Hierophant, or Tradition in this deck. Upright. And at the heart of the matter, it's the High Priestess, or Wisdom in this deck, upright. Awesome. Okay, let's look at this for a sec. All right, well, what's really interesting is that the Five of Cups is like opposite this fertility in reverse, and both can be about not only lack or possibly even loss, which I'm wondering for some, if some will think they're pregnant or be hoping to be pregnant and the test won't be positive, maybe. But that's not what I was gonna say, or what I started to say. what I started to say was that the masculine got that card hobbies in the other spread, and this can be about feeling like a creative block, like you can't get to those hobbies. Um, Also, and that can be what this is too, but there was no indication that the feminine felt that way necessarily. Um, I think this is just fear. This is in her mind. She feels that she may be like lacking what it takes, that she's not, fertile enough with ideas, energy. But the wisdom card here, the high priestess, sitting, and we have, wait a minute, we have the high priestess crossing the high priest, first of all. So we have like a couple here, very royal and elegant couple. But we have this fertility in reverse crossing major arcana card wisdom, or the high priestess. And this indicates that, like, whatever we feel we don't have, that we're lacking, that's a loss or whatever, she has the wisdom to handle whatever the problem is. So if it's like that type of thing where we can't get to where we need to be with regard to our creative outlets, like, not to worry. So this guy crying over spilled milk, like, I haven't been able to work on my projects, I haven't been able to come up with anything, all of that is going to change, because we have here, this easily trumps this major arcana card, the high priestess. Five of Arrows is conflict, perhaps jealous, because you have all this wonderful energy around you. The Queen of Staves upright, the High Priestess upright, the Two of Cups upright, the Hierophant upright, and the Two of Staves upright. That can be what this is. But, like, just, like, don't fall victim to this. And in some cases, this can be yourself. This can be, to a positive, this can be you deciding to be more aggressive, maybe, and go after what you feel you lost or you couldn't find within yourself. Like, maybe to dig deeper. That can be that for some. This tradition card, which I keep calling the Hierophant because that's what it is, major arcana card number 5 in the tarot. But this tradition card in this deck can also be about conformity, and that can be what this is too. It can be about worry and feeling stuck in the ideology, like, how do I let go of these traditional values, that I just don't feel aligned with me anymore. Oh, woe is me. I don't know what to do. But again, and so you're conflicted here, and maybe you need to get more aggressive about, your thinking, and more bold and emboldened toward facing people who may disagree with your choices, that you're going nonconformist. They might not like that. But again, with wisdom, or the high priestess crossing the high priest, essentially, you certainly have the power. You are stronger than you know, like the first spread said, to do whatever it is you need to do. You got this. And this is an indication of moving forward and spiritual growth, emotional growth. There's really no need for either one of these fives. They totally don't fit with the rest of the reading. You know what, let's see if anything else comes from this and this and this. Additional meanings, maybe. And also how we can maybe heal them, beginning with this angel therapy oracle and manifestation power. Use your spiritual gifts and natural abilities to attract your desired outcome. Opening 2, visualize success. See yourself doing well in this situation and have faith in the positive outcome. Which fits here, like, as opposed to like, oh, woe is me. I got this. I'm stronger than I know. I'm stronger than I'm acknowledging right now, and I can do this. Visualize success. Opening to indigo. The person you're inquiring about is an indigo, meaning a highly sensitive, natural-born leader. Visualize success. And solar plexus chakra. It's safe for you to be powerful and to take charge of your life in positive ways. And we don't have to conform to what other people want us to be and what they want us to do. Be true to you. Base chakra, or root chakra, some of us may call it. Choose only positive thoughts to describe your home, career, and finances, as your words determine your outcome. Overall energy is, if you get nervous, focus on service. Put your entire intention on answering the question, how can I make the world a better place? And the law of attraction will automatically take care of your needs. And lastly, with regard to advice from the Isis Oracle, and beginning with healing the divine masculine, Osiris rises. So I think this is pretty awesome. The Scorpion King rising for the Scorpion full moon. Opening to abundance of Sothis, stellar blessings of the celestial goddess of abundance. So we saw that in the other spread. The universe wanting us to know that it was about to, bless us with finances, to help our situations, but for us not to be consumed with it. Here's another confirmation. Abundance coming your way from the goddess. Abundance of Sothis back. And divine sisterhood, community of the spiritual sisters and brothers of the light. Abundance of Sothis again. And Lady of the Stars, the priestess of Sirius. And now that's at the bottom. I'm going to cut. Did I say also the traditional meanings of tradition or the Hierophant? This is also about commitment and marriage. This can be the masculine thinking about wanting to get married. Again, going back to those family changes, relationship dynamics, wanting to give you his last name, maybe plant some seeds. And now the Lunar Queen, she of the celestial crescent. The overall energy is mother of life, nourishment of the golden grain mother. So masculine here, I like this. You may have lost something, or you may have had to let go of something. You may have cut off a friend or relationship, left a job. You're moving forward towards something, and so that you have some grief work to do. And that's another reason for this card. You are feeling loss here. However, to help yourself toward healing, God box. Write any worries, concerns, or desires on a piece of paper that you put into a special container called a God box as a way of letting go and allowing the divine to help you. Feminine here on top of this fertility in reverse, where we're feeling perhaps some loss as well. It's the end of an era. So this may be something like what I just said about the masculine, something, someone, someplace that we had to let go of as well, and it's done. Okay, we're finished with it. However, look with what we're left. Again, the Queen of Staves, the Two of Cups, crossing the Two of Wands. This is a true love relationship here. The Two of Cups. This is real partnership. And then the Two of Wands, again, sitting next to the Hierophant. This is a true love relationship. And again, one that results in marriage, or is already, formed in marriage, surrounding the marriage. Healing for the feminine, with regard to this letting go of and the fact that it's the end of an era, is crown chakra. Pay attention to your ideas, as they are messages of true divine guidance sent in answer to your prayers. So we're getting some aid in, we might be getting headaches and things over what we had to let go, in combination to, what else we're going through, ascension and all that, and everything that's happening. Our life, just things have picked up again with the energy of the Eight of Wands, and things are moving at a fast pace, and our heads are spinning, and we may need to get, some help here with the crown chakra for that. Crowning here, top this Five of Arrows. This is in part being conflicted and having the support of the universe first and foremost, but people that love you, that are around you. The Queen of Staves is sitting here ready and willing to help, and you have the wisdom that you need to do whatever it is you need to do, accomplish your goals, help you to get through this. But and also the heart chakra. You have Archangel Raphael here to help you to get through any grief as well. And where you're conflicted, where it's you, like where these swords represent air signs and maybe head versus heart choices, you have the support again of the universe for you to follow your heart and do what you choose, and go ahead and leave the old and what doesn't fit, what doesn't align behind. Advice from the Lover's Path Tarot. It's Judgment, and it was in reverse, because I picked it up like this. I pulled it from under there. So it was in reverse. I'll read it to you, since it's a major arcana card. And feminine, wow, ours is in reverse as well. It's the Chariot, or in this deck, Triumph, but in reverse. From the Angel Therapy cards to the masculine, have you asked your angels for help with this? Your angels want to help you with this situation. However, they require your permission before they can intervene in your free will choices. Feminine. Ascended masters, powerful, loving, and wise spiritual teachers are watching over and guiding you. From the butterfly to the masculine. Leaving. This is what you're leaving behind. So again, some of you may be feeling loss, or, sadness, grief, conflicted, like, how this was difficult. It's not what I want to do. I was conforming by doing it. So I'm conflicted here, because I know I'm letting some people down. I'm disappointing somebody. I'm going against somebody's views. It's somebody that I care about maybe. And, it hurts me to hurt them, but I got to choose what I want. So I'm leaving that behind, regardless. I don't have a choice. And maybe this is even leaving a relationship, a friendship, leaving a job to pursue a new one, leaving town. Could be. You could be moving, as we saw in the first spread. Some of us actually physically moving. And that could bring some sadness. You grew up in this place or whatever, whether it's your home where you resided or a job. Some of us work the same job for years and years and years. When you're leaving, it brings some sadness. But you have the support of the universe to help you through this. And, write down some things and put them in a God box if you feel so inclined to do so. Feminine. Gracefully aging. This is again speaking to our ascension here. And the spiritual and emotional maturity more than about age. Spiritual and emotional maturity that many of us lacked, regardless of age. Some of us are already of certain ages, they say a woman of a certain age, and still very immature when it came to some of the dynamics of these relationships. So all of that changing for us with our metamorphosis, and we're wearing big girl panties now. From the Isis oracle to the masculine. Enter the chamber of healing, healing in the divine chamber of the Lady Isis. And to the feminine, miracle of Isis, miraculous healing of the goddess. And I'll read these two. Well, not the whole thing, but the tops. Judgment. Traditional card, also judgment. Lovers pictured here, Tannhauser and Elizabeth. Keywords, choices, passages, changes. So sounds very Scorpion already. Though Tannhauser loved the virtuous Elizabeth, he left her to wander the world in search of adventure. During these travels, Tannhauser enchanted Venus, the goddess of love. She quickly seduced the Meinhauser and brought him to her magical kingdom. In time, he longed for his true love, Elizabeth. Unable to prove himself worthy of her to others, he went on a journey to repent. Upon his return, Elizabeth collapsed into his embrace and expired, leaving only her pure love behind. Meanings: a choice that must be made, sometimes between higher and lower impulses. That could mean like a heart or head decision. Passage into the next phase of life and self-knowledge. But when it's in reverse, stagnation, inability to act, blockage, and giving up control. So that brings us back to this. Again, where I said some of us were feeling a creative block, so that there's that aspect of it. But also this feeling of being conflicted because we're following our own heart instead of somebody else's ideology. That's to do otherwise would be to relinquish or to give up control to them, and we're not doing that. We're taking our control back. We're taking over our lives, because we're grown-ups here. We're gracefully aging. We can manage this on our own. We're stronger than we know. We can handle our own lives, and that's what we're going to do, and that's what Spirit guides you to do with this advice. Feminine, triumph. Oh, I think I said the Chariot, not the Chariot, the World. I see this 21 here. We had the two cards back to back, 20 and 21. The last card in the tarot. This is the World. Traditional card, yes, the World. Lovers, Ariadne and Dionysius. Keywords, expansion, success, travel, closure. Princess Ariadne helped Theseus slay the Minotaur by teaching him to use the golden thread as a path within the labyrinth where the Minotaur lived. Ariadne thought they would live together forever, but Theseus abandoned her upon the island of Naxos. Bereft as she was, Ariadne did not know she was fated for a greater love. Dionysius, god of divine intoxication. He loved Ariadne for her passionate bravery and loyalty. Now a goddess by marriage, she went on to live in blissful triumph, work with her immortal husband. Okay, feminine. End of an era. Okay, this, for some of us, is where, as I had already said, but more specifically now, even having this information, it's where we're leaving a someone, someplace, something, but maybe for some, like a previous boyfriend, a previous husband, where we're letting that go. That's completely done. It's the end of that era. And we got to be open to new opportunities because we don't know, what's out there, and the universe tends to bless you with better, and the universe has promised to bless us with better. And that's what happened here with Ariadne and Dionysius. She let go of this man that she loved. She had no choice. He had already let her go by leaving her behind. And then she found a better love. Okay? So this is what some of us are going to be doing. The world, in a general sense, is about being eased out of one phase that was long and, tedious, difficult, trying, all of these things, like a marriage where the man leaves you, I would imagine, to move on with his life. But you ease out of that so that you can be eased into something new and better. That's what the card, the world, means. And here they call it triumph because, it's an ultimate victory, basically. Enter the chamber of healing for the masculine. Healing in the divine chamber of the Lady Isis. A spiritual gift of healing is coming to you now. Be open without expectation or preconceived notions and allow the healing from the Lady Isis, mistress of magic, to help you to find the best solution for any situation that does not appear to be as it should be. Take your time to create a space into which her magic and energy can flow now. Expect a miracle. This oracle comes to you as a messenger. Prepare for great changes because they're on their way now. When the divine Lady Isis offers you a healing gift of magic, it's something to accept as a gift of unconditional love. With open arms, it will be offered without agenda, with the only intent being for your highest good and spiritual growth. That Eight of Cups. It will not necessarily look or feel like what you expected, but you will realize, maybe like the Tower, you will realize in the unfoldment of the process or circumstance that it was a spiritual healing gift from the divine, even though you may not have immediately recognized it at the time. You will be able to recognize the healing by the experience of it and its effect, even before the complete resolution of the issue at hand. The experience will be that the issue is somehow lifted from you, and the effect will be that the issue seems genuinely out of your control, and yet not out of your control. This is the way that the gift of healing can come to you. And it reminds me very much of your oracle card. Have you asked your angels for help with this? Time in a sacred space to contemplate and reflect is extremely helpful to receive divine intervention and consciously, swiftly, and fully as possible. Sacred space can be a physical space that allows you to put your day-to-day activities and thoughts to one side and instead indulge in just being as you are in that moment. It might be a place in nature, your meditation place or healing room, or a sanctuary that you have where you can be alone for a time, or even a meditation group or healing circle. Sacred space allows you to simply be, to not have to think, sort things out, or to analyze, but to open, rest, allow inspiration or guidance to come as and when it chooses, and to allow for the mysteries of healing to occur. It's important when entering sacred space that we do not set an agenda or have specific expectations. We do not have to think anything more than I dedicate this space to the divine within. We're not attempting to find solutions, but actually actively letting go mentally and emotionally and allowing ourselves to go into a peaceful state, relaxed but not numb. We can often have guidance, inspiration, clarity, and knowing drop into our awareness. We don't need to actively seek these things. They can just happen when we create open space. Healing happens most powerfully when there is space, openness, and allowing. We let go for healing to flow. Time in sacred space will help you receive the inner adjustments that you need for the healing magic of the Lady Isis to be able to reach you with full boldness and genius. Miracle of Isis. Isis was known as a talented practitioner of the healing arts and was capable of miraculous healings. For you, beloved, she offers a miracle of healing. No matter how much you have struggled with a particular matter, letting go of this era, whatever it is for you. No matter how impossible it may seem to imagine your life without this old wound, addiction, problem, relationship, inner or issue or struggle being a part of it, you're guided now to accept the possibility of miraculous healing and to let go and to let the goddess be. The Lady Isis wishes to lift a load that has become too heavy for you to heal on your own, beloved. That's what the world does as well. She cannot take something away from you if you're not willing to release it to her, however. Release for healing means trust, letting go of attachment to outcome and how that outcome might be achieved, and opening to the divine genius of healing that seeks to express the perfection of divine love through you now. To hand something over for healing, especially when it's been a long-term or persistent difficulty or simply seems too great or overwhelming to be healed, takes a radical change of mind. What was our overall energy? Change my mind. Yes. And of heart. And we have, okay. A radical change of mind and heart. To dare to hope without becoming attached to how or when something can happen. To surrender without forgetting to follow your intuition and to act accordingly, like a high priestess would do. To trust even though you may have been disappointed or hurt in the past. All these things, like a big girl, like a grown-up, all these things take skill and courage. Yet, these are the requirements for us to surrender into the great healing of divine love. Lady Isis speaks through this oracle and says to you that recovery from trauma and emotional healing is not only possible, but if you're willing, it can happen for you now. No matter the depth of grief, loss, despair, fear, or anger, love can and will absorb it. This oracle is an indication that a spiritual gift or awakening of deep healing ability at a new level are coming your way. Didn't I talk in the first spread about the feminine going through an ascension? Here it is. Keep your eyes and heart open and let go of doubt or fear about opening up to a new level of proficiency. Dedicate your work to divine love and trust that it will flow through you stronger now. You're stronger than you know. You are capable of great work when you trust in your own heart and the love of the divine flowing through you with total surrender. I hope that you guys enjoyed the moon reading. Namaste, Angel.